Hi, everybody. It's James back again with the Pursuit of Enlightenment podcast, number 2. I hope some of you have enjoyed the first one. There, I was really just trying to think through why this is such an important project for me and maybe for you as well. Why is it so important that we pursue this thing called enlightenment? Now, enlightenment's a really loaded term, and I've just used it, just to get started with a conversation. But as I've said, the simplest way for me to explain it is that I want to be present for my life. I don't want to go on auto mode. It's so easy to form habits, especially as we get older. I think as children, we probably experience time more fully because there's novelty, and that keeps grabbing our attention and pulling us back into presence. So as a child, summers could last forever. And as we get older, I think we form habitual patterns of behavior that sort of take over. It's almost like an algorithm that we set up in our brain. And once that familiar pattern is sort of initiated, for example, I just think about my routine when I get up. It's very, very consistent. I get up, I grab stuff out of my dirty stuff, washing, and I put it in the bin. And then I grab my water bottle and I grab my phone and I go out, and then I'll go and do my business in the bathroom, have a shower, do my little hair thing, and have exactly the same breakfast and blah, blah, blah. And it's pretty much consistent. And there's some value in that because those are good habits that I've put together. Make my bed, so when I get back to bed, it's nice and tidy. I have a nice protein-rich breakfast because, I like to do weightlifting, so I want to make sure I get that. I have some of the other things like my omega-3 fats and blah, 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 right? So I'm not saying that habits aren't bad, but what I am saying is what tends to happen for me in my observation is that I will engage in those habitual behaviors and then I totally switch off and I'm not even there, and I'll be in my car and I'm off Ubering before I know it. And then I could just do the whole day like that. Rhythm, routine, great things, but just a highway towards completely missing my life, completely missing the beauty that's all around me. I mean, you've heard the saying, this isn't new, stop and smell the flowers. What does that mean? It just means stop. Break out of the routine, wake up, and that's why we call it enlightenment. Wake up, see the light for what it is, see the beautiful subtlety of each day, see the light on the trees, see the person in front of you and communicate with them in depth. I was actually talking to a lady this week, and I'll put her in the references. She's got a cool Instagram. She does relationship advice, Leo, so I'll put her on there. And we were sharing about this, and she said, yeah, you know what, that's something that is really important for couples. The couples that she's talking to, often they've been together for a long time and it's all just gone totally automatic. They do the same routines, it gets boring. They're not engaging with the real human being right in front of them. They're just doing routine and they kind of lose each other. And the passion and the excitement and the deep spiritual, emotional, physical connection just dissipates. And so she shared that, and I thought that was another great analogy for why the pursuit of enlightenment is such an important topic for me. I don't want to go through my life missing all the beauty that's around me. On this weekend, I was going to an Australia Day event. My friend had just got her citizenship as Australian. She's a really beautiful, great friend, and I was excited to meet them and celebrate with the families. And it was 9 a.m. It was so hot, and I just, some reason, couldn't figure out what I should do between then and the 12 o'clock. And I remember just drifting towards the pool because I was so hot, put my legs in. My brain's just, woo, 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 woo. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, can we just go? That kind of mode. I'm sure you've experienced it. And then I just stopped. My feet were in the water. It was nice and cold. I moved them around and felt the water moving over them. I listened to the insects were just making this beautiful sound. There were birds flying, the breeze was going through the trees and I could feel it on my skin and cooling me. And then I started to close my eyes and I just did a little breath. And then I listened to the sounds and I went to that beautiful place of presence. And I just felt my whole being go, "Zhoo." I hate that term, killing time. You don't have that much time to be killing it. And I think if you're killing time, and I do it too, and I was doing it on, was it Monday morning? I just go, hold on, James, stop. You cannot be killing time right now. You don't have forever here. Let's make this a time where you're fully present. You've got nothing you have to do. You're ready to go. You've got a couple of hours. Don't sit there going, oh, it's so hot. I wish I could just go. Think, I've got an hour or two to be fully present. And then, I want to talk about this in another podcast, but I'm not going to start there today because there are a lot of techniques to do this, and I will cover them, and they've been covered a million times, but I'll show you what I do. But in that moment, what I did was just remember, I woke up. That's why it's called awakening, right? I woke up. I stopped being somewhere else. I came right back into my body, and I looked out my own eyes, and I thought, what is here? What can I experience right now? And I felt that tension just evaporate, and this beautiful sense of joy and appreciation for the moment. Who knows what's going on chemically in the body? I'd love to measure it. I bet you it's quite profound, the changes that are going on. And it's like releasing a little valve of, and I'm peaceful, and I'm full of joy, and I'm starting to realize the wonder, and I've broken out of my routine. And so I've probably talked about that more than I wanted to, but I think it's really important to establish why the pursuit of enlightenment. So I will talk more about it, plenty of examples for when I use it, why I use it, and why I think it's so important. But let's move on. I wanted to give you a little bit of a background about myself, because most of you won't know me, and you wonder, well, you want a little bit of an idea of why I think I have some authority to speak about this, which is very reasonable. So why? Why do I think I can talk about enlightenment? Well, there's several areas that have led me to this. I've always been a philosophical person. If you ever sit down with me at a party, we'll get into some deep conversation. I love deep conversation. I'm a head type. Head type just means I like thinking things through as opposed to a heart type or a body type. Okay, so I love philosophical discussion. And so I've always thought about this. Even as a child, I remember thinking, for no particular reason, I wonder if there's some way I can open, there's this other eye that I can't open. And it's a weird thought for a kid, right? And I think what I was intuitively understanding was that there was a seeing beyond my physical eyes and body and senses. There's another sense, in a way, that's able to tap into what's going on right now. And so I've got that experience. I wasn't brought up in a spiritual tradition. My family were spiritual, but they never really taught me about it that much. It was just sort of in the air. And I kind of rejected it pretty much through my teenage years. And then I became a Christian. My partner at the time was a Christian, and I had these very, very profound spiritual experiences. Basically, talking to my partner at the time, she was my ex-wife, and she was telling me about her belief system as a Christian, and I was like, well, I don't think, that's not for me. It doesn't make any sense to me. But then I started having these deeply spiritual experiences of kind of awakening, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, where I was suddenly transformed into this place. I was right where I was, but it's a place of awareness and understanding and beauty. There's a kind of a glory and a weight around this every moment that I was kind of finally introduced to. And that made me, she said, well, that's Jesus. I'm like, well, I'm in, because Jesus is awesome. And so I spent the next 20 years of my life being a fundamental Christian. And there was a lot of benefits to that, and I won't ever rubbish that. Even now I go to a Catholic church every couple of weeks with my new partner who's a Catholic, and I want to support her. I no longer can kind of like go along with the theology intellectually, but you know what, when I sit down there in that big, there's a big kind of cathedral in Maroochydore, it's all open, the air's moving through, there's a whole bunch of people, they're doing all their religious songs and their things and Hail Mary and everything, and there's something, and I just feel presence and peace in that moment as well. And so the Christian tradition has probably been misunderstood. It has a very strong mystic element. And the prayer practices that I did where we would be encouraged to pray regularly, and I got really into it. I would probably end up doing about an hour a day, and it became less and less words, just naturally. It became less and less words and more sitting quietly. And there's a verse I really like, be still and know that I'm God. I think I really took that on. So the mystical aspects of Christianity for those 20-something years, maybe 25 years, I don't know exactly how I've done the maths, but it taught me a meditative practice I didn't understand at the time. And I think every spiritual practice has a mystic element, which has a spiritual practice that helps you come into presence. And so from that, I developed a very intuitive understanding of what it means to be present. Okay, so I've got that element. I was at uni, I studied at uni. I did marine biology, zoology in the end, basically, and then an honours in animal physiology. And I loved the research in Christchurch University back and finished in 2000, started teaching, taught for 20-something years biology and maths. And so because of that, I think I did develop a good ability to communicate. So 2 good reasons to listen to me. Hopefully I'm able to communicate well to you the experiences I had and convince you. And I've also, after I became a little bit disillusioned with teaching and realised it wasn't quite for me, nothing wrong with teaching, it's just my personality didn't quite suit it. I wanted to move out, I hit that middle age kind of crisis time and did all sorts of stupid things, which if you want to know more about, it's in my book, and I can tell you about it here eventually. And I decided to go and do my PhD, and I got a scholarship. So I did my PhD, which I finished last year, and we were looking at the effect of exercise on brain health. So that's something I can do some little talks on later, but it's not quite related to what I want to talk about here. But basically, exercise delays the onset of dementia. So we know that quite well. It's very well established in the literature. And we wanted to understand some of the biological mechanisms behind that. So we wanted to know, well, what is it specifically going on in the body when you exercise that maybe delays dementia? And so I spent my 5 years doing 3 studies, 4 really, 1 smaller study. So really 4 studies, but 2 major ones, clinical trials with older adults doing resistance training. So I love resistance training. It really helped me get more into it. And I could see that all the huge benefits for the older adults. It was huge changes. I can talk about all that. But anyway, we've had 4 papers published. So I'm an early career researcher, but I'm a bit of a weird fella because I haven't jumped into getting a research job. I think 25 years in an institution was just enough. I am satisfied with being in an institution, and I don't love the idea of being on a salary. I don't love the idea of being often they can be very soulless and heartless. I'm doing hobby research, so I'm still writing papers with colleagues. I've got other people at the uni that I work with. I do some teaching there as well. And so I've got those 3 strings there. I've got an intuitive mystic heart that's always been there that I have pursued with discipline and have learned some things from it. And it means that now I can enter into a state of presence fairly readily, but I am still so surprised that I don't do it more. And that is the heart of why I wanted to do this podcast. I want to understand for me why I'm not more present, and I want to help, and I think it'll help you, and I want to start conversations with you. And, eventually once I get better at this, I'm going to start having people in and have the conversations about it, because I think I'll learn a lot, and hopefully you'll learn a lot in that process. So I just need a little bit of water. So I hope that introduces what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and maybe gives you a little bit of okay, maybe he's got something to say. So last week I started talking about my first chapter of my book, The Pursuit of Enlightenment. So I just read like a snippet out of it. And, I've got the links there so you can have a look at the rest. Please have a read and get back to me. I think you'll really like it. I think it's really simple. It's based on my life. I'm not teaching a lot. I'm just trying to show you what I went through, and maybe that'll teach you something about how to do this more, how to be present, get out of that routine, robotic, habitual mode of being, which can take up 99% of your life until every now and again something brings you out of it. And, it can be quite dramatic. But let's make it something that we can just practice and we can do whenever we want. And so that's my goal. So today I want to talk a little bit about, so the first chapter of my book basically goes on to the calling, why I wanted to do it, the yearning I call it, because there's a yearning still in me even today that keeps saying, James, there's more, you're not there yet. Don't Wake up. It's like going, wake up, James, wake up. Don't sleep for your life, So then I started to talk about, I called them veils. So it's another, I get a lot of Christian terms because that was my spiritual heritage. And I've, it's my language that I've used to understand my spirituality. And if that's not what you're into, please just let it go. Okay, he's just coming from a different tradition. I read other traditions. I'm really interested in Buddhism. I'm really interested in Hinduism. A lot of religions speak to me, and I can see the gem, the diamond of truth. Where I think my intuition is other people have experienced what I'm talking about: enlightenment, kingdom of heaven, nirvana, presence, being awakened. You know what I mean? They've experienced that. They've told people about it. Maybe Jesus had those experiences, told people about it. And then sometimes a whole network of ideas and religion and stories gets built onto it until eventually the stories obscure and veil the core concept at the heart of it. And I've seen that in Christianity, obviously, but I've been to South Korea for 2 years, go to those Buddhist temples. I didn't see the layperson going in there and experiencing the present moment. I saw them bringing incense and food and trying to get good luck. You know what I mean? And so I'm just saying that I suspect that the Christian traditions, the Buddhist traditions, the spiritual traditions have very, very powerful metaphors that point, like they say, a finger pointing at the moon, but the finger's not the moon. You heard that one before as well. So that's what I think. So the rest of the book, I explore veils, so things that I know are pulling me out of being present. And the first chapter is the past. And so I have a little truth coach under each one. Now, a truth coach is basically a very simple statement that kind of reorganizes my thinking in such a way that more aligns with the truth. So my truth coach, and I've got that from David Riddell, that's not my idea. He's a guy, a Christian counselor. I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was very helpful for me to learn some counseling skills. I didn't even talk about my counseling psychology experience. Anyway, we'll do that another time. And what I found was that a really good truth coach to pull me back from being stuck in the past is that was then, this is now. That was then, this is now. Often the past pulls us back, and it can be searching through the hallways of your imagination for some hidden remembered joy, some hidden remembered feeling that was beautiful and you don't want to lose it. Or it can be a regret. It holds you back like an anchor. It's, I made a mistake and I can't move past it. I can't forgive myself. I can't forgive them. It's something to do with the past, holding us, our minds back in the past and away from the now. And so I have two examples in the book. One that I talked about, I had a very vivid experience. I had a divorce and I caused that situation, and I explain about it in the book. But basically, I had an affair and I ended up with another woman, which is part of my midlife crisis, which I deeply regret and wouldn't recommend to anyone, okay? Anyway, I was with this woman and deeply in love with her. We were sitting in a cafe in Sunshine Coast, and she's there, I'm there, I've given up everything to be with her, and I wasn't present. My mind suddenly went back, it must have been near Christmas, to a memory I'd had with my first wife and my children and my parents-in-law. And we would sit around the Christmas tree and we would Granddad would hand out presents. And it was a really lovely experience in New Zealand. Beautiful house, beautiful view, lovely people, my kids, everyone's excited. Granddad's handing out presents. You can understand. And my mind went back there. And I was like, my emotions were just like, I've lost that. I've lost that. And it just drew me from that. It was very dramatic, drawing away from the present moment, from what was in front of me. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't have regret at the loss of those things, but I think that can become like, and this is how I visualize, if you know Lord of the Rings, I love Lord of the Rings. I read it as a kid, so it's just a big part of my mythology. And do you remember, I think it's Pippin has a little golden, little crystal ball, and he finds it. He's a mischievous little hobbit, right? He's always getting into trouble, and he finds this magic crystal ball. I can't remember the name of it, Palladian or something like that. Anyway, he's looking in it, and he's just like, There's something about it, and it's opening up to the Dark Lord's Horn or something terrible, okay? So your soul basically gets snatched away. But once he looks at it, he can't pull his eyes away. It's trapped him. And I suddenly had this insight given to me that memory was beautiful. It was a wonderful experience to celebrate and be glad that I'd been able to experience it. But it right now was sucking my present energy and life out of my body and into a memory. And it was like a crystal ball of just enchantment that I couldn't stop looking at. And I realized in that moment, no, James, that was beautiful, but that's not now. That was then. This is now. This is life. This is where life is. Life isn't there anymore. It's a faded memory. It's a picture. It was beautiful, and you did lose it, and you won't have it again. But that was then, and this is now. What life do I now have? So I'm not saying don't deal with your mistakes in the past. I dealt with my mistakes. I apologized. I learned. I understood and grew from my mistakes. But I can't let my present moment be robbed by the draw of those past regrets. And so in that moment, I realized, no, put that memory down. That's not now. Another example, so I read the Bhagavad Gita, which is a Hindu text. It's a very unusual book, probably difficult to understand in English, to be honest, but there are real treasures in it. There's one story, and I can't remember everyone's name now, but I should look it up. But basically, Krishna is God. Krishna is on earth. Krishna has, I'm going to look it up because it's going to annoy me if I don't say it. So it's in my book, chapter 2. I'm just going to look it up because it will annoy me. Okay, so Krishna is talking to Arjuna. So Arjuna, I'm not saying it right. Arjuna is a king. I don't know the full history of it. My understanding of Christian knowledge is way better, right? So just take it with a pinch of salt. But there's some truth in this. Krishna is talking to Arjuna, and they're on a chariot. They're overlooking battlefield, okay? So that's how the book opens. Quite dramatic, quite a good analogy for life. Life can be a bit of a battlefield sometimes. And so they're looking over this valley, and there are two armies arrayed, and Arjuna is in charge of one of them. And he looks over the other side and he realizes, there's my cousins, there's my uncle, there's my auntie, there's my friends on the other side of the battle. And he's like to Krishna, wouldn't it be better for me to just let them shoot me full of arrows rather than me kill my own kin, my own friends, and lose them? Which is a very reasonable statement. And then Krishna says something very strange. He says to him, why are you losing courage, O mighty one? And I'm going to read the actual verse because I'm going to mess it up otherwise. So I'll read it to you because I think it's really cool. So here we go. I'll put it up here for me to read. So, why do you lose courage, O mighty one? Don't you know the soul is never born and never dies? These bodies will pass, but the soul continues. This is their karma. This is their way. And so I'm going to interpret that James style, okay? And I think there's some similarities to the Hindu interpretation. Krishna is saying to him, this is your karma. Karma means this is what you're doing right now. This is the situation you're in. You can't be changed. There is no way you're going to talk to the other people and talk them down. They are hell-bent on destroying your army, and your job right now as a soul in this body, Arjuna, is to fight them. Don't lose courage. And then he's saying to him, don't you realize this isn't it? This is not it. This life is not it. They will come back, you will come back, and you will do another role, another karma, another destiny, I guess is the word. You will fulfill another purpose in another life, but your purpose right now is to lead this army to victory. Go and do it with courage. And I think what it's saying to me is those regrets that I had in the past, that's one example. I've had multiple ones, and I'm sure you all have. Those regrets, it's almost like I want to throw myself on the cross and never experience a beautiful moment again because of my regret of my actions in the past. Or I just want to stay there and try and fix it. I'm going to fix what happened in the past. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, bad news is that's impossible to fix what's in the past. You can talk to the people now and you can say, look, I made a real mistake and I hope we can be friends. And I admit that I was in the wrong and this is what I did wrong and this is what I've learned and I might probably do that again. And so that's something you can do now. But going back in the past in your mind and trying to fix the past, it's not going to work. And it's like Arjuana. He's in that situation. There's no turning back. He has to go forward with courage and be present and do his role. And I think what it's saying is those things in the past, if I cling to them, will only cause me to go down into hell, into Hades, into Sheol, into death, in a sense. So if I go and live in the past, I'm now dead here. But if I let go of the past, just like Arjuana, I let go of those connections, they will reincarnate and become new life. And so letting go of those past regrets or those beautiful memories is like me allowing the new life to reincarnate. I learned so much from those experiences. I'm grateful for those experiences, and those experiences have made me into the person I am right now, so that I can manifest new life right now. And I think holding on to the past, beautiful memories with regret, even beautiful memories with no regret. Oh, it was so much better then in the old days. It was so good, Everything was better and it was golden and the sun always shined and I don't understand what's going on now. And, it's a death of life now. It's a getting stuck in your incarnation. And I'm not saying I believe in reincarnation. I'm saying it's a really good analogy in that Hindu script that death allows life. It's a cycle of death and life, death and life. The past is dead. What is the new life that it can bring now? Jesus said something similar. He had a guy come up. So Jesus is going around Galilee and he's gathering disciples and they like what he's saying and the miracles and it's like this guy's got something really powerful to say. I want to follow him. So a lot of people would come up and say, I want to follow you. So a guy comes up to him and says, look, I want to follow you. I want to be your disciple. And Jesus says, but then he said, before, can I just bury my father? And you're like, that's super reasonable. If I was a guru and had people following me, I'd probably be like, yeah, of course you can. And then you can come back. Jesus said something very strange. He said, let the dead bury the dead. Let the dead bury the dead. Very strange. But what it's meaning, I think, is the same as Krishna and Arjuna. Your dad's dead. It's sad, but he's not alive. Let the dead bury the dead. Let the dead deal with the dead. You're alive. And while you're alive, come and follow life. And Jesus is saying, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Follow me. I am life right now. The past is dead. You can learn from it. It can grow up and bring new life. Just like if you have something die and it's buried, it brings new life to the earth. It's a cycle of life and death. And you need to not get stuck in it. Learn from it. Treasure it. Every now and again, sit down and go, wasn't it so cool when we used to do that back in blah, blah, blah. And then feel the joy now. But don't wander through the hallways of your memory looking at faded old photographs and not being present now. The past's death allows an upwelling of life right now. And I guess so that's what I really spend a lot of time talking about in chapter 2, called The Past. And there's more there, but I think that's enough for you to start to think about it more. And so I wrote a song about it called Creator and Destroyer, and I might try and edit it in here now. So I'll put it in now, test out my editing skills and see if you like it. Or I might just put a link in the description. You can have a look. And it's all about that. What was it? I'm going to find the words for you because in here, and I think it's really cool. And I can't remember them off by heart right now. But where is it? No, I don't actually put it in that chapter there, but it's Creator and Destroyer is basically about I awoke and from the dream and I threw off the ropes that were binding me to the past, and I wove them into a net. And I put the net into the water and it filled with many good things, and I drew it up and it gave life. And it's got another analogy where I destroyed the beast and its blood fed the earth and brought back fruit. And I think the past needs to be looked at as something that is to learn from, but not to be clung to. Clinging to the past. And there's a lot of psychological depth to the clinging to the past. For example, just unforgiveness. If you've got people in your mind now, you think about them, you don't even want to think about them. Like, there's a lot of anger, a lot of pain. You can't talk to them. It's like cut off family members. Sometimes it's important to have space from family members, but cutting off any human completely, even when they come to you with look, I get it. Some people, you can't have them in your life, but having an open heart to allowing people to change, to come back into your life in a new way, with a new level of trust. Maybe not the old level of trust, but a new level of trust. I mean, my ex-wife showing this beautifully. She's wonderful at this. We're in each other's lives. We're friends. And it's been transformed. But that was an example often when couples break up. There's such a resentment. They'll never talk to each other. There's anger and hatred. I've seen it so many times. It's such a shame. It's such a shame to let those past experiences destroy the life that you have right now. And so maybe this week you can just look at yourself and maybe have a little wake-up call. Whenever you start dwelling on the past, say to yourself, hold on, what's going on right now? Or, little truth coach, that was then, this is now. That was then, this is now. That's quite a powerful truth coach for me. It just helps me go, yes, I made a mistake, or yes, that was beautiful. And no, I'm never going to experience it again, but now I might experience something even more beautiful. Right now always has beauty in it. Even when you're in a state of anxiety or stress or depression, if you are able to learn how to be awake and in the present, you can transform those into beautiful moments of learning, of wisdom. It might motivate you to do something wonderful right now. And so that's my first veil, the past. Don't let the past suck the life out of now, because that's such a loss. I mean, you're only here for a short period of time. And do you really want to spend it all stuck in the past? In a past that you cannot change? If you're you can't change the past. It is fixed. The past, as Eckhart Tolle says, and a lot of people have said in the spiritual tradition, isn't even a real thing. I mean, I'm not saying anything new, but the past isn't a real thing. It's just a memory. And sometimes those memories are very loaded with emotion, but it's still a recording of a snippet of what happened. Another good example, I did neurolingual programming after I had a breakup with a woman that I'd left my wife for. I was very distraught after that. And the only thing that seemed to help me with neurolingual programming, I did a lot of counselling and work with that. And I understood psychology reasonably well. I have done some postgrad research and done counselling with people in the past. I don't do it anymore. It's probably not suited to me. But what we did there, we went back to some of these old memories and we reframed them. It's a really great psychological tool, reframing past memories. And maybe that's what you need to do to help you get away from being stuck in that memory, is reframe it. And so I had one memory of as a child being with my parents in the kitchen. It was very vivid. And everything was black. It was like a dark place for me, a dark, sad place of being rejected. My father left when I was 4, a very classic story. And as a child, I accepted it as being a rejection of me as a son. Like, I wasn't worthy of being a son. I had to earn my living now. I had to please to be accepted, or otherwise they would leave me. Anyway, I formed this view, which had been reconfirmed by this, this lovely lady who had decided to leave me after a couple of years, and it really broke me. It really made me question and brought up all that rejection stuff. And so we went back, and this is a really good example of reframing. We went back to that memory somehow. It was sort of like a subconscious, you're in a kind of semi-hypnotic state when you do it. It's quite powerful to get the right person. I recommend you try if you have an issue stuck on. And we went back and I saw that situation, and the woman who was helping me said, what was the learning? What did you learn well, first thing she said was, what did your dad not know? What did your mum not know? And I thought, they didn't know how to be together. They just didn't have a clue how to stay together. And it gave me a real compassion. And I'm like, well, what didn't you know? And I didn't realise that adults sometimes couldn't be together and actually was nothing to do with me. And then what was the learning? It wasn't about me, it was about them and their inability to deal with the situation. They hadn't formed their maturity, or maybe they were never meant to be together, or they didn't know how to guide me through it so it didn't hurt me so much. Whatever it was, it gave me this deep, deep compassion for my father and mother in that moment. And it was very visual. The whole visual changed and light filled the area. I felt like a little Buddha, just like beaming light into this memory. And it's like that memory was reframed. It wasn't about me being rejected. It was about my parents being human like I am, making mistakes because they didn't know how to do it the right way. But maybe they have the opportunity to learn from it, but I certainly have the opportunity to learn from it. And so reframing an old memory can be a good way to escape it. Come back to the present. That was then, this is now. What life is here. And if you can learn, if I can even lead a couple of you into a place where you can go there and experience that beautiful presence, then that will be a wonderful gift to you and me. And so what I was saying was, the past isn't really a thing. It isn't a place. It isn't something that really exists. It's really just a memory in your mind. It's a place that you can create and see. You're not seeing it the way it was. You're seeing it the way you were. You're seeing it the way you remember it. And you've also remembered it and retold it so many times. It's not even close to what happened. So it's an illusion. The past is an illusion in your mind. It has something to teach you, but it's not life. Only now is life. What's happening right now? Here I am in front of you in the camera. I can see outside. I can feel the breeze. I'm enjoying talking about this topic. I can feel my body. It's relaxed. My stomach's a little tense. Maybe because I'm pushing through ideas and I love doing that. What's happening right now? What's happening with you as you watch me right now? What's your body doing? How's it feel? Is it anxious? Is it relaxed? Are you kind of like going, oh, this is interesting. I want to learn more about this. Or is it like, you're thinking about dinner, or what's going on? That is the only thing that is real, is now. The past is imagination. That was then, this is now. And so I think I'll leave it there. If you have anything you want to, I'd love to get some comments from you, and I will reply. And we can connect on the different platforms. This is on YouTube, but I'm also doing shorts on my Instagram. The Pursuit of Enlightenment on Instagram, you can see material there, and also my songs. So the song that's kind of quite linked to this is The Creator and Destroyer. It's talking about learning to destroy the past to create the future, the present. And that's on Sad Newman on Spotify. Search it up and have a look. I'd love to hear your comments on that. It's been a pleasure talking to you. As I develop my skill here, these will get longer, and I am going to be bringing in guests. I'm starting to talk to people now and saying, hey, come and have a talk to me. I have all these great conversations with people, and I think, man, I wish we could have done this, and I'll say, let's come back and talk about it. So check out my book if any of this captures your imagination. I'd love you to have some feedback. You can read chapter 1 for free. It's only $10 an ebook. So have a look and tell me what you think. And I'm going to keep putting these on weekly. And I hope you're enjoying them. So like and subscribe, share, just show everybody what's going on with the Pursuit of Enlightenment and join in the journey. And if anything's triggered a question, put it on there and I'll try and answer it as quickly as possible. And I may even answer it in the next podcast. So until I see you all again, peace out. And be present.